I found the people here really friendly. And amusing story today, I went to the barber shop. Um, it took about an hour to cut my hair, which usually only takes about 10 minutes. But it was 50 minutes of conversation and 10 minutes of haircutting. And, uh, met this warm, friendly barber who told me about his life and even introduced me to the man who was ahead of me in the barber shop, who's a chiropractor here in town. And we struck up a conversation. And I noticed a little sign on his barbershop said Mayberry RFD, and I thought I might be in Floyd's barbershop here. It was really nice, and it was true. The bank that I went to open an account. I went to the Department of Motor Vehicles, which you always hear gets a bad rap, and they were very friendly and helpful to me about what it takes to get an Ohio driver's license, and my New Jersey plates transferred to Ohio plates. Everybody's just been helpful and friendly. Um, Down to the pizza guy who, suggested a couple pizzas that I might want to try since I was new to the area. Uh, and, the church folks have been amazing. I've had a really good experience with folks who've greeted me and welcomed me, asked if there was anything they could do to help me in my transition. A couple people said, I'm praying for you, and we're going to set up a special committee to help pray that your house sells and your wife can join you shortly. And the tough part of ministry too is I've visited people in the hospital and folks that are dealing with some serious issues, and they talk about the love of the community that has been there for them, and as sort of the new person on the block or the outsider, that's always good to hear.
So when you start a new pastorate like this, although it's been a while since you started a new one, do you have particular goals, or is it a continuity of your previous ministry for you?
I think there's both. I think it's things I've learned in ministry over 20 some years that are important when you first come into a new position. I think the first thing is to get to know your parishioners and to listen to their stories, and to find out where my story, their story, and God's story all intersect. And I think that's when you can start to build trust and relationships. I think another thing is to kind of figure out what gets people excited and passionate about why they come to First Pres. What is it that draws them week after week to not only worship but to fellowship with one another. I've had lunch at the college lunch program and talked with a few of the students and the workers that were in the kitchen and hustling and bustling to prepare food and get that all set up. I've talked to people that were excited about all the mission opportunities that the church has. We had a speaker Sunday from my sister's place, and I know folks are active with Habitat for Humanity, Hope and Possibilities, Good Works, and so on here in town. So that's you can see where people have their energy and passion. I think that's another good place to kind of figure out, how can I help support them in the ministry they're already doing. I guess the one thing that surprised me the most was almost everybody that I have talked to has been from someplace else. They didn't grow up here in Athens. You often hear stories of, well, this is my hometown. My parents have been here since 1803. This long history of family in the area, and most of the people I meet have either come here because of the university or a job that has brought them to this area. That's not to say there are not folks from Athens that are here, but I haven't met them yet. So I've not served what I would call kind of a traditional college town before, like Athens. So it's the college runs right up to the doorstep of the church, and so it's exciting to see all the young people. One of the members said they liked having all the young people because it made them feel young. I think it's a nice mix. Obviously, I think like every congregation in our nation, you'd love to see a ton of young people, college age, high school, middle school, younger children, only because you think to yourself, well, there's the future of the church, and how are those communities going to be shaped in the future if they're not here now? And what might we learn from them? about what's important to them, and what might be something that would draw them to create a community within the church. I was at a Bible study before church, and we had a visitor, and she had just graduated and got her first teaching job here in the Athens City school system, and very young and energetic, and she started asking about, well, do you have a Wednesday night Bible study for college kids or young adults, and these kinds of things. So you know that there are people out there that are looking for those things. So there's opportunities, I think, to grow in different directions. Certainly to look at the college kids and maybe even high school kids in the area that may be looking for a church. I try to focus on three things. One, biblically grounded. So I tend to be a pretty much of an adherent to the idea that my sermon really flows out of the text, the scripture text, whether it's Old Testament or New Testament. The second thing is that you should hear a little bit of judgment and a little bit of grace in every one of my sermons, because they're both prevalent in the Bible. And the third is that it should have an application to your life, that somehow you should leave thinking, I'm either challenged to do something, or the way I'm looking at the world may be just a little bit different because of what I've heard. At least that's my hope. That's what I'm trying to do on Sundays. Of course, it's always up to the hearer as to whether I succeed or not. But those are kind of the three things I think about when I'm preaching. Am I being true to the text? Am I really lifting up what I see as both God's judgment, and not in a harsh way, but in a way that says, where can I be a better person today, or where does the world need to be a little bit better in dealing with things like hunger, homelessness, poverty, oppression, injustice, and is there something here I can take that really matters in my life that I should be thinking about? As pastors, we all have to practice different things, and one of the things you practice is, of course, how you do communion. And we have these wonderful words that begin a communion service that says, "This is the joyful feast of the people of God." And I'll never forget my professor showing us a videotape of most pastors who say this, and it's that, "This is the joyful feast of the people of God." You think in a monotone, just almost, oh my gosh, this is terrible, what's going to happen here next? And you'd think, well, can't you be just a little more joyful in the pronouncement of being joyful? So I think humor plays an important role too. It's somebody once said laughter is the best medicine. I think that's true. If we can laugh at ourselves and see the humor in things, not in a mean way, but in a way that provides us that joyful experience. I think we are welcoming and warm. I think there's a genuineness to the fellowship and the concern for people. Whether it's getting a ride to church. We had some ice this last Sunday, and one of the members couldn't get their car working, and another member went and picked the whole family up and brought them to church. We had a wonderful puppet ministry program on Sunday that I thought was just outstanding. The choir is amazing. It's just beautiful voices, and there's a real energy and love of singing that you can tell that comes from the choir, and I think mission minded. There are lots of educational opportunities, Bible studies, involvement with outreach through the lunch program, through the different agencies the church supports. So I think it's so far I think it's a wonderful, caring community.